Hey, what's up, Facebook? I'm here with the Herminator, John Hermansader. He's writing a blog article for us on how to buy a car. Buying a car sucks, for lack of better words. I'm in the car business, and I would hate to buy a car. You sold cars. What do you think?
Man, it's a process, and it's a process that takes some time. But if you're prepared for it, it's doable. So we kind of just want to go over a few things that we've written down, a few ideas as far as like what would help you as the customer benefit from the process of buying a new car.
So this is a really conversation from John and I, and you guys get to be a fly on the wall. I'm giving him some notes for his article he's writing. And I read what you have now, and it sounds good.
Sure.
But I don't think it answers the questions that customers are looking for.
Okay.
Like, okay, for example, I have a trade. How do I know I'm getting a fair deal on it?
Sure.
Where can I check? I'm buying a used car. Okay. Number one concern if I was buying a used car is I don't want to pick up somebody else's problem.
Mm-hmm.
They have the car, they started having problems with it, they traded it in, bought a new one, now I'm stuck with their car.
For sure.
So why don't you hit me with some of your questions first, and then I'll walk you through what I put together.
Perfect. Yeah, I would love to just start by getting right to the meat of it. Especially for people that are interested in not sure if they know if they want to buy a used car or a new car. How can a customer make sure they're getting the best price on a car, whether it be used or new?
Yeah, great question. Research online. You have so many tools online. If you're buying a used car, say you're looking for a certain specific car, there's so many other cars out there. So use dealership's website, but also if you type that into AutoTrader, cars.com, Car Gurus especially,
Sure.
Car Gurus will actually tell you on the car listing, good price, fair price, not good price.
Sure.
So we price our cars to be at that level on Car Gurus. We pay attention to that. On a new car, tons of great tools. TrueCar is one. We're a TrueCar pricing member here. The way TrueCar works is they go to TrueCar, they type in the car they're looking for, and then TrueCar tells them the best deals out there. So really everybody should really know a fair price. And our pricing on our website, if we don't have a good price, I used to tell you in sales,
Sure.
to tell the customers, right? If we don't put a good price online, you guys don't come in the door.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
But on top of that, and something I'll talk about when we're talking about negotiating used cars, all dealers have a tool. We use vAuto, a pricing tool.
Okay.
So we can actually print out a market base of that car. And if I was a customer, I would ask for it.
Definitely.
Okay, well, print me the market base and ask the dealer to prove to me I'm getting a fair deal on this car. And if they're doing the right things, they'll have no problem printing that off for you and walking it through. Hey, we're the best value within X amount of miles, and actually prove to you with documentation, not just negotiation.
Sure. That makes perfect sense.
And we'll go into some more of like some of the tools and tricks that I have.
For sure. Speaking about not wanting to pick up anyone's previous problems, like the dealership is able to provide that kind of like ownership and maintenance history right out the gate if a customer wants to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So especially on a used car. So new car is not so much because it's a brand new car. There's no history.
Sure.
But your auto check or Carfax, all dealers have access to it.
Perfect.
I'll print to customer either one if they want to see. If they want to see both of them, I'll print both of them for them.
Perfect.
But that's going to show you exactly what we're looking at when we're buying the car. Specifically, does it have any branded titles? Was it in a flood? Did it have the odometer rolled back?
Sure.
Sometimes accidents will appear on there. Now that can be a two-edged sword because an accident on the Carfax, it can be serious or it can be very minor. And I've had customers come in and trying to trade in their car, and I'm appraising it and it's got an accident on it, and I have to downgrade it a little bit because it has that accident. And they tell me, well, it was just a small little brush at a stoplight, but you know what, they got their insurance involved. And once you get insurance involved, it shows up on the Carfax no matter how big or small it is. So if your car you're buying has an accident on there, you should try to negotiate a better deal with that because it has it on there.
Okay.
The dealership, when they acquired the car, should have acquired it properly with that accident. But also keep in mind, just because the car has an accident on it, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad car, but you should do some more digging.
Definitely. I think that's a great point. And one of the major key points that I was researching as far as buying a new or used car is what are the warranties going to cover for me if what I'm looking for is used already? Because you'll pick up a little bit of the remaining warranty. How does that work, and how does the warranty forever work?
Yep, so we have warranty forever on all of our used cars.
Okay.
But we also do a lot of certified pre-owned. And I find a lot of customers come in here and they don't really know, they know certified pre-owned is good, but they don't really know what it means, why it's good, why it's better.
Okay.
And I like the idea of certified pre-owned, especially in the Hyundai lineup where we do a lot of them, because in Hyundai you get the remainder of the 10-year 100,000 mile powertrain and the remainder of the 5-year 60,000 mile bumper to bumper coverage, which is an extremely strong used car warranty.
Without a doubt.
So we do a ton of those. Now on the Chrysler side, it's not nearly as strong. They take out the powertrain a little bit, and they don't really add much bumper to bumper, that comprehensive warranty. So over here, we don't even do certified for Chrysler because our warranty forever covers more than that one does. So by certified pre-owned, you kind of want to know which brands do the best with it.
Right.
Hyundai, awesome program. Toyota, awesome program. Honda, awesome program. Kia, awesome program. Chrysler, I don't think it's the strongest certified program, and that's why we don't support it. Ford, I don't find it to be that strong of a program, so we don't support it. Nissan is a pretty good program, so we do support it.
Okay.
And we always give the customer the option. You can either take the certified or you can take the warranty forever. Now, warranty forever is better for that person who's going to keep their car for a long, long time, because although it doesn't have that comprehensive coverage in it, which is going to cover more stuff around the car, where the powertrain just covers engine, transmission, drivetrain, it lasts forever.
For sure.
So if you're the kind of person who, okay, I'm going to have this car for 10 years, yeah, warranty forever is a no-brainer, because the comprehensive warranty is going to run off in a short period of time anyway, and now you have that long-term coverage.
Exactly. And, I guess as far as I'm concerned, one of the questions I was asked the most when I was in sales was, how do I know if I'm financing a vehicle? How do I get honest information about what my interest rate will be?
Oh, it's all disclosed.
Right away.
Oh, yeah, not right away usually, because sometimes we don't have all that banking information. But before you sign your paperwork, and when you do sign your paperwork in finance, they take out that purchase contract and they go all the way through all of it. And that interest rate is circled, it's disclosed.
Absolutely.
They need to do that because compliance is huge. And yeah, interest rate, payment. How about the total amount of payments you're going to make during the life of the loan?
Sure.
Probably it's actually a lot. Let me put this on, hold your sounds. But when you actually look at the amount of payments you make over time, it's crazy how much you end up paying towards the car, even though the sale price was only X amount.
Right.
So you can't be scared by it because there's always a cost to borrowing money.
Of course.
And that's just what happens when you take a loan. But you're right, that's information that if your finance person's not going over that with you, walk out of that office and leave, because you need to be in full control of that conversation.
Fully informed, absolutely, for sure. And as far as, the amount of money that you're supposed to or should bring to the table if you're looking to buy something new or used is going to be your down payment. What would be a good kind of gauge as far as how much money should I bring for my down payment?
What I usually tell customers is 10 to 20% down is a healthy amount.
Okay.
But it changes depending on credit.
Okay.
So if you have credit where you're trying to establish or reestablish, coming to the table with more money down is going to show more commitment on your part to the bank. Probably going to get you quite a bit better financing terms, keep your payment lower, and really put you in a better position in the car where you're closer to an equity spot.
Perfect.
Now, let's say you have great credit and you're taking advantage of one of our 0% options. I would say don't put any money down. You're paying 0% on that car. Why would you put anything down if you're not paying any interest on it? Take advantage of that, unless you're chasing a lower payment where you want to put that money down to get it down a little bit.
Offset that.
But I guess the short answer there, and what I would say in the article, is 10 to 20% would set you up for the best position.
Okay, good to know. Absolutely.
And then if you have bad credit too, and you're putting that larger amount down, that's money that you're never paying interest on. So it's making ownership of that car cheaper.
That's brilliant. Absolutely. And I know that our dealerships do, or at least the dealership that I was in sales for does. Do we all offer in-house financing?
We do, through Preferred Credit.
Okay.
And you were over at our Hyundai store, so we did a little bit more of it over there. And we don't really talk about that in the article too much. That's more of a last chance financing, which we do. So we go to all the other lenders, and if they won't approve you, we actually have our own money that we put on the line.
Okay.
And when we're selling that, again, that's kind of tough to talk about in this article because I don't think the average person reading it's in that position.
Okay.
But it's a cool program where we're selling the car and the car is important, but really what we talk about in that program is credit reestablishment.
Absolutely.
And we report to the credit bureau, so make these payments on time. Let's get a plan to help you increase your credit score so that it's a short-term loan, probably a year, 2 years you can trade it in, and let's not be in the same position in 2 years. Let's be in a position where we have a little bit more options. We can look at something a little newer with less miles. So it's something really cool that we do here, but let's avoid talking about that in here.
Okay.
Maybe that'd be another blog post for another day.
Okay.
You know, of more the intricacies of how that program works, and maybe some success stories actually of some people that we've taken through. Because we have some people that have bought their first car through there, you know, an older car with higher miles, and we've got a lot of people who have stepped their way up, and now they're buying and leasing brand new cars.
Right, because of that establishment, being able to kind of get in the place they want to be.
And the payments on that brand new car is about the same as it was on that first car, because you know, on that buy your pay here, the loan's going to be higher, their credit's more risky, and we really want to get them to that better credit situation.
Absolutely. And what kind of advice would you give to someone who's never bought a car before if they're unsure of whether or not they're looking for something used or something new? Because obviously you want to keep your options open, but how would you kind of advise someone in that department?
Research. And that's going to kind of, I typed this up because I think we both had this idea we're going to do this blog post, and I read this, but then I realized I didn't really give you any structure. But I think after we go through this, you'll have some tools that you can incorporate in here, maybe some links that we can put in there too.
Absolutely.
But you know, right here, that's the first thing, picking out your next vehicle, new versus used. And some people only buy new. They don't want somebody else's problem. Other people like the idea of a used car because when that car leaves off the lot, it depreciates very quickly. And the rule of thumb there is, hey, let someone else take the depreciation, and I'm going to buy the used car. There are benefits to that new car, you know, with warranty. You get some extra perks from the manufacturer, plus you're the only person driving that car. New car also offers rebates. So let's say, for example, the 2019 Renegade right now is like the perfect car for people who are trying to reestablish credit, because we have $7,500 of rebate. And we talked about wanting that money down. Okay, if they don't have money down, that rebate acts like money down. So we can put them in a much better position. The bank loves the car because it's new, it has all the warranties, and it's easier to get them approved. But what I would say is, what's your budget? And let's find something that's reliable within your budget. So if you're a first-time car buyer, someone who's a little bit younger, okay, you might want that luxury car brand new, but let's take some steps and get there.
Baby steps.
You know, I think from selling with me, you know, I love this Sonata. 2016 Sonata, we've advertised them for years for $12,995. I think is that what you bought even?
Elantra, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I think when you asked me, I was like, dude, it's a no-brainer. It's a Hyundai certified pre-owned car. 5 years, 60,000 mile bumper to bumper warranty, $12,000. You're going to establish credit. You're going to get it paid off. You're going to have a good car for years and years and years, versus buying that luxury car with 110,000 miles that it's in the shop, and now you have a $90 service bill on top of your monthly payment, and you're still trying to establish yourself. You're in school. You're
Yeah. So I think mentioning that you still pick up a certain amount of warranty miles. When I bought that first Elantra, I think I was still under 50,000 miles, and it was covered till up to 60, which was huge.
And the powertrain's still covered up to 100.
Yeah, so wasn't worried about the engine, the drive axles, the transmission, none of that stuff. As far as insurance is concerned, because I did mention a few things in the article. I think one of the main key points of mentioning insurance is to people that are financing a vehicle is that you have to have full coverage insurance. And I think, that obviously is a factor that plays in when you're looking into whether or not you're going to buy a new or used car. And what do you think, as far as like giving more advice to somebody who's never bought a car before, what would you recommend as far as like going to like purchase that kind of insurance?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because a lot of people, they maybe are driving mom and dad's old car. They have liability insurance on it because they need it because of law, and that's very cheap. And now they're going to finance their first car, and that full coverage is a little bit of a shock. There's a couple different tricks you can to keep that insurance price down. First one, if mom and dad are willing, add you to their policy. And again, we're talking more about a younger buyer here who doesn't really have a driving history, because a lot of times they're going to hit that younger person with no driving history with a high insurance, and then over time, after you prove that you're not on liability, that insurance tails off. But getting added to mom and dad's policy to start is going to increase their policy a little bit, but at least keep the rates affordable. Also knowing your deductible levels. So deductible is that amount out of pocket you pay if you are in an accident. And sometimes if you have a really high price for that insurance, we can maybe increase that deductible, which means you're going to come out a little bit more out of pocket if you're in an accident, but might make it a little bit more affordable monthly. So we don't want to play with that number too much. But also, okay, if I have a higher deductible, let's be very safe in this car, because I don't want to be stuck with that out of pocket costs. and maybe we do that for a short period of time until we can get that insurance rate down a little bit, and now relook at what's financially best.
Absolutely. And people go in, knowing what their budget is and what they're going to be looking for, essentially. As far, you've answered my question so well. Just curious as to what you think, maybe from, a friendship perspective, what would be beneficial to add to the blog post, that would be really helpful to the customer itself.
Well, let's go through all this outline one by one, and
sure.
I'll just kind of hit on everything with the car buying process. And a lot of this stuff is like old school nasty tricks that dealers do, that the reason why people hate buying a car, because they immediately come in here and we're the bad guy.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, because it's years and years of people doing this stuff, which I think we've done a really good job of getting away from, but it still exists out there. So first, picking out new or used, and we talked about the benefits of a new car, being the first owner, having those warranties, perks from the manufacturer, the months of XM free trials, plus all the latest and greatest stuff, which we're seeing a ton of safety features in there now, and that's getting better and better every day. I mean, cars are almost standard with backup cameras now, and used cars can be a little more difficult to get into that. But the used car, you get the benefit of someone else took that depreciation.
Right away.
So I can probably get a little bit better deal on it than if you're buying a car from us, warranty forever, or the certified pre-owned warranties that I talked about.
For sure.
Let's stick on new cars though. Some of the old school tricks that dealers will play, and if you go to our website, you'll notice how we have everything laid out nice and transparent. We don't include anything in our pricing that you wouldn't qualify for. So you can see our price online and know, okay, if I went into the store, I'm going to get that price, and you know what? Maybe there's rebates that I qualify for that are going to make that price lower. For example, you're in college, you're about to graduate, so there's some college grad discounts available to you that wouldn't be available to other people. So we don't include that in our regular pricing, but if you came in and bought a Hyundai, you'd have an additional $400 off.
Look at that.
So it's only going to get better from there, where a lot of dealers, what they'll do is, okay, we're going to take all these rebates, military, owner loyalty, competitive owner. Sometimes, you can't even have owner loyalty and competitive owner on the same deal, but they just take all of them and include them in their pricing. And then the customer comes in and they say, oh, were you in the military? No, okay, you don't get that. And now your price went from this low number up to this high number.
Right.
Really not transparent at all. And I think, okay, maybe that worked in the past, but with buyers that are more our age, that are going to be out, I would never want to buy something that way.
Absolutely
you see a price online, that's the price you should get.
For sure.
Other stuff that some dealers will do, there's a destination charge on every single car. Every single new car, you'll see it on the window sticker right before the final price, and they'll actually take that destination charge off. And then, so the price you see on there, and then they add all the rebates in, and then they say, oh yeah, and you owe $700 for destination.
Right on top.
You will see dealers doing it. Some of them are, at least will include it in the notes underneath the car, so I'll look into like the description and see if there's any notes in there. But some, if they're already doing those kind of tricks,
it's already so not transparent. You can't, you can't even tell what you're going to get for the money you're paying.
I'd say pick up the phone and call, but you're probably going to get a runaround answer there if you get an answer at all. But I would say, hey, okay, I see this new Dodge Durango on your website priced at this. Can you tell me what the actual discount from the dealer is and which is made up of incentives?
Okay.
And then also tell me which incentives you included, because do I qualify for all those incentives, or do I have to be ex-military, trading in a different Dodge Durango, the whole list of incentives out there.
Yeah.
Used car tips. And this is all to avoid buying someone else's problem. Ask for the vehicle history report. We use AutoCheck here. I also have access to Carfax. It's going to tell you, are there any brands on the title? It'll show you all the maintenance on the car that's been done over the years. Who's owned the cars? How many owners? How about where the car was owned before?
Right.
So now if you have a car that was owned you're seeing Colorado on there. Colorado is very rocky, very mountainous. I'd be looking around that car to see if there's paint defects from
things, anything like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Or depending on where the state is, if it's down in somewhere where they've had flood issues recently, that Carfax is huge to tell you if it's had any flood damage or rain damage to it.
Absolutely.
So asking for that auto check should be done every time. We did talk about the one caveat there is okay, if you found the perfect car for you and it has on the Carfax it says, minor damage, all right, maybe let's do a little research into where that was. And it'll usually tell you like which panel it was on.
For sure.
But don't let that necessarily deter you from buying that car, because that could have been as simple as just a light rear end that got reported to insurance and really not a big deal.
For sure.
On the flip side, it also could be a devastating frame damage issue. So, but just know on that Carfax there's history, and they do tell you what's severe, moderate, and what's just minor.
Right.
So keep it all with a grain of salt there.
Okay.
Certified pre-owned, is it worth paying extra? There's definitely a value to the program. From what I've seen, yeah, it is worth paying a little bit extra. You see Honda buyers who will only buy a certified Honda.
Yeah.
On the Hyundai side, we're just as competitive as non-certified Hyundais with our pricing, so we don't really expect a premium for it. It's more of just a perk they get from buying from a Hyundai dealer.
Gotcha.
What does it cover? Every manufacturer is different, and it's very difficult, but usually it has two components. It takes the powertrain warranty out longer, so for Hyundai that's 10 years, 100,000 miles, and it adds a little bit longer of that comprehensive warranty. That comprehensive warranty is the big one, especially with us, because we offer that warranty forever. So if the comprehensive warranty isn't all that much longer, take that warranty forever, it's lifetime coverage.
Makes perfect sense.
And what do you get? Again, different with every single manufacturer. So maybe we can find a link. I know Automotive News has a great article.
Okay.
Maybe we can link it to that breaks down each manufacturer's program with the certified. But that might be a good section to include in there.
Absolutely.
Does the individual or dealership stand behind the vehicle? So I kind of said that in terms of, okay, you don't have to just buy from a dealership. There's Craigslist, there's Facebook Marketplace, there's corner lot dealers, and then there's franchise dealers. Know first off, what they're doing to the cars to make them lot ready.
Sure.
For example, the average car that goes through one of our stores gets about $1,200 to $1,500 of reconditioning done to it.
Wow.
And we do a 150-point inspection. We just do the certified inspection on everything because it's a great inspection. You might as well be thorough.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're buying a car from some guy on Craigslist, realize that work hasn't been done. And there's probably no warranty. So after you hand him the check or Venmo or however you're making the payment for the car, you're on your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of our cars have that warranty forever if they're under 100,000 miles, and then if they're over 100,000 miles, they get a 1 month, 1,000 mile warranty. So if something goes wrong right away, we take care of it. And I'll be honest with you, John, we've been in business 60 years.
Yeah.
It's not by doing the wrong thing. So if it's 31 days and something goes wrong, it really comes down to just do the right thing.
Right, for
That's the kind of security you get from a franchise dealer that you might not get from a corner lot, and definitely not from
a private seller.
Now you'll probably be able to get a cheaper car, but we have to remember we have an overall car budget that we're factoring in. So sometimes if you're paying a little bit more, but not having to worry about stuff going wrong, even though your monthly payment might be higher there, the peace of mind of not having those unexpected charges.
Sure.
I usually try to tell the customer, okay, make sure you're factoring in, that'd probably be a great thing in here, factor in your overall car budget. And why I told you to buy the 17 Elantra versus a 2009 something for cash is, okay, it's a little bit more, but at least you know your monthly payment. Where if you bought that other one for cash, okay, I don't have a monthly payment, but every 2 months I seem to be fixing something for 100 here, 100 there. Okay, well, I really am paying a car note. It's just unexpected and out of the blue usually.
Right, that I didn't budget for in the first place, and now I think that 150-point inspection, regardless of the dealership that it's coming from, is super important because it's just that peace of mind. You need to have that in the back of your head that they did a thorough job of looking over each and every component of the car, and really comes down to that's if the question is what does it cover and what am I paying for. It goes without saying that what you're paying for was inspected and is sure that it's going to get you from A to B safely.
And if you're buying something from a dealer that doesn't really have that respected name, maybe getting a third party to take a look at it.
Sure.
I mean, if you have a mechanic or someone that you can have take up in the air. Now, if it's a certified pre-owned Hyundai and you're getting all those warranties,
right?
Maybe you're not as concerned with it, but if you're looking at a car that's completely out of warranty, older, let's get that car in the air with a neutral third party, have them take a look around it, tell us what's up and what's wrong. I do want to make a point there that if you're going to go do that though, you're paying that mechanic to take a look at it, he feels like he needs to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, he said this was wrong and this was wrong. Okay, how severe is it? Is it normal for this car to have that?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you just trying to point something out because if you say it's all good, I'm going to feel like I wasted my money for taking the car to you.
Absolutely.
So,
That's a great point. I didn't think about that.
Hopefully you have someone you trust, though, that you can, maybe you have a relationship with them that you, this is a great car.
Take
Or,
their word.
this car, it's good now, but I don't see this as being a good car in 2 years.
Right.
And that goes a long way. So we talked about picking out the vehicle. The trade-in is one that often people struggle with. It's like, okay, well, what's my trade worth? I always say Kelley Blue Book's a great guide.
Gotta be.
But you need to use, I think in your article here, using Kelley Blue Book the correct way.
Sure.
So there's third-party sale, and then there's trade-in value. The trade-in value is going to be less because of the requirements that we do at the dealership to get the car ready.
Without a doubt.
And then also how we stand behind the car. So make sure you're using that, and then also the right condition. They have, I believe it's good, or fair, good, very good, and excellent.
Okay.
No used car is excellent. For me, excellent is new car.
Sure.
But they'll give you the actual terms on there of what falls into that bracket, and read those terms and be honest with yourself. And usually we're right there within $100 or so of that Kelley Blue Book number.
Absolutely.
Other stuff you can do. Here's one. Selling private party versus trade-in. Because you have a lot of people like, well, I can get more for selling it on the road.
Sure.
And yes, you can. And in some cars, it makes a lot of sense. I'd say if you're selling like an older Cadillac in Milwaukee area, that car's got some street credit to it.
Definitely.
So you're going to find someone who's probably going to pay a good amount of money for that car, where as a trade-in, it might have 150,000 miles, and we're looking at it going, yeah, it's got some street credit, but we can't make that meet our requirements to resell, so it's just going to auction.
For sure.
So in that case, you're going to get more selling it on the street.
Right.
The benefits of trading it in, though, is you get the tax savings. So you've already paid tax on that car. It's going to lower your amount that you're paying, and then you don't pay tax on that amount.
Right.
So let's say you have an $8,000 trade. $8,000 times the tax rate, 0.056 here. That's $448 of savings.
Just like that.
That you wouldn't have thought to include into the car.
Sure.
The other thing is selling it on your own can be a little bit of a hassle.
Oh yeah.
Okay, when people come into the dealership, they want to negotiate. You're going to put the car online, and people are going to come over, and then they're going to offer you ridiculous numbers for the car.
Thousands less than what you're asking for in the first place. Yeah.
And then usually when I talk to customers and they say, yeah, I sold it online, and I asked what they got, they said, hey, I should have just traded it in because I wanted the number you guys gave me. They actually ended up coming over with cash, handed it to me, and the cash was in front of me, and I just couldn't say no to it. So I would have saved them some trouble. But in those certain circumstances, there's definitely cars that have a better value out on the road.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're trying to reestablish credit, and something we definitely want to include in here is that can help with the bank approval. So sometimes banks seeing that there's a trade in the deal will get you better financing terms.
Really?
Or maybe require less money down, even if the trade isn't worth all the money they're adding.
Okay.
We did a deal the other day where the customer just had a $300 trade, and we took the $300 trade out of that deal, and to compensate for that $300 trade, they needed $5,000 to make the deal work. So either $5,000 cash or a $300 trade. Now that was probably one of the most drastic ones I've ever seen, but it shows you the importance of what that trade can do. Let me add that in here.
That's a good point. And thinking about, I definitely mentioned every single component that goes into your specific deal is going to be helpful. Regardless of whether or not you have a trade or don't have a trade. Everything that you can do in your favor is going to help you in the long run, for sure.
And guys on Facebook, if we're missing anything here, let us know. Comment below so we can make sure to talk about it and add it to the post.
Absolutely. Any questions? I would be happy to take it. Questions that I could add to the blog post would be great.
Kelley Blue Book, we talked about that. And then after we talked about the car we want, getting the rate for our trade, now how are we going to pay for that car?
Right.
Are we going to pay cash? Are we going to finance it, or are we going to lease it? And I get a lot of questions between should I lease or should I finance? It seems like a lot of times people are like, should I lease or is that just a ripoff? And both are good ways to buy a car. It really depends on what kind of situation you want in the next couple of years. So a lease allows you to have lower payments, being a little bit newer, not a little bit, a brand new car.
A new vehicle, yeah.
And usually have a little bit more car than what you can normally afford. The difference on the lease is that after those 3 years, you give the car back. And now you don't have any equity in the car, but you also don't have any payoff on the car. So you've washed your hands clean of that car. I'm ready to make my next decision. So for a guy like you have your Elantra, say you would have leased that. In 3 years, you turn that back in, you have no car. You also don't have that equity to trade in, but you go, okay, well, maybe I have a kid now. Maybe I need a minivan now.
Exactly.
And now you can do a total 180 from your Elantra to a minivan, where if you finance it, you're a little bit more stuck in that way.
For sure.
People who like to finance like to be in the car for a long period of time. They like to watch that monthly payment slowly eat away at the principal, and then eventually have no car note left, and then drive a car without a car payment. Another great option. That kind of person is okay with not having the latest technology in the car. They love their car. They get attached to it. They're just comfortable in that one car. They don't want to be changing a whole lot.
Right.
And they're going to run it to the ground. So both are good. You are.
Right.
And
What your lifestyle.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, and if you like to be in the latest and greatest thing, and you like being in a new car every 3 years, the lease is definitely the option. But if you like having that long-term car, or maybe you're going to put a lot of miles on it, that finance is the way to go.
Absolutely.
And then I also have your less than perfect credit, because not everybody's in a position where they can just go and finance a car. There are steps you can do to help prepare for it. We have a credit app on our website that helps.
Of course.
Really the best way to do it, though, you could fill out the online app, but really we need the customer here with check stubs and bank statements so we can get the whole picture.
Right.
There's only so much you can get from behind the computer, and in that case, I'd say find a dealer you trust. We hope it's us, but if you're comfortable with another dealer, go in there, talk to someone that you trust,
Sure.
and get some guidance there on what you need to do. If they're running your credit, every time they run your credit, your score is going to go lower a little bit.
All right.
It's not the end of the world, because more importantly than your credit score is the stuff that's on your bureau backing it up.
Yes, sir.
But still, if they send it to 20 different banks, your credit's going to take a drop. So let's say you go to one dealer, run it 20 times, and your score goes all the way down. Then you go to another dealer and do it again, and your score goes. Okay, you're not setting yourself up for success there.
Right.
Find someone to work with and make sure you're at the right place beforehand. Do your research ahead of time.
Absolutely.
And then understand that they're going to have to run your credit a couple times in order to get the car bought.
For sure.
And credit's meant to be used, so your credit should be run. It's just don't abuse it. You don't want it being sent all over the place.
Over and over and over. For sure.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
The next section of here, so after we do our financing, we kind of figure out the car that we want. We figure out how we're going to be paying for it most likely, and we figure out what our trade's worth. We're probably going to want to start the process online. And this is really exciting because we're seeing more and more customers go to digital retail.
Without a doubt. For sure.
And our website's set up for digital retailing. We can do, the customers can do as much or as little of the transaction they want to do online. The thing with Wisconsin laws right now, though, is you need to send the MV11, which is your titling information, and you need to sign your purchase contract with an actual pen and ink. So it's stopping us from that fully digital transaction, because we actually need them to sign that stuff.
Be here in person to sign the paperwork. For sure.
Oh, another good thing to mention in this article, especially with these other car buying sites coming into it.
Yeah.
If you buy a car off the premise of the dealership, you have a 3-day return policy. No matter what, new, used, anything. If the delivery took place at your house, you have 3 days to return that car.
Really?
At Amato, all of our used cars, even if you buy them here at the dealership, have that 3-day return. But something to know, if you're buying a new car and they're going to deliver it to you, you have that 72 hours to return the car.
Really?
Yep, so don't forget that. That's definitely a good tip for, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about that as that starts to pick up.
Sure.
So on our website, you can actually, you find the vehicle you want. You can see a breakdown of all of our pricing, of all of our rebates. You can select the rebates that you specifically qualify for, so you get that extra college grad, and see the price go down.
For sure.
And then it will tell you the payments. And you can flip between lease and finance. Sometimes the rebates change, so it'll give you a different printout on the lease. And then you can customize those payments. So you can adjust the money down, and it'll even ask for your trade information, and then apply the trade and any equity or negative equity you have into that payment. So you can see the whole deal there. And then Sharif is actually on the computer, so at any time if you want to chat, we have a guy here in the store, basically online sales consultant, and if you have questions about how something's working, you chat, and it's like a back and forth conversation, just like you're in the store, but you're on our website.
Right.
So I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's the way of the future for sure.
Oh, without a doubt.
But we do see people, we give them this opportunity to do a lot of the stuff online, but they still want to come into the store and test drive, which I would too. It's a big purchase.
Without a doubt.
I think that's kind of what makes this business unique. It's not Amazon.
Right.
And I think that needs to be mentioned in here. It's not like buying a pair of socks. You
Yes.
you don't just buy it and it shows up at your house.
Right, not just a standard like consumer purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Like people just online buying whatever they can and just get delivered to your house. Like yeah, there's no way I would buy a car and not test drive it. And just have it delivered right to my front door. I've never physically been able to touch the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like definitely got to get behind the wheel at least once.
I'm the same way.
For sure.
To finally finish up on the digital retailing, you could also adjust your financing, see your trade numbers, and then add additional F&I products.
Oh, that's right.
So we'll probably do another blog post on that later,
Mm-hmm.
where we can talk about like F&I products and what they are. But that's basically just taking those manufacturer warranties
Mm-hmm.
and making them last longer.
Right.
People ask me all the time, is this a good deal or is this a bad deal? It all depends on your situation again. If you're on a tight budget and you want to see those factored into your car note where, okay, every month I make this payment and if something goes wrong with my car, it's covered, then it's a great thing.
For sure.
If you have some extra income and you're able to say, hey, you know what, if my car has some issues, I have the money to put it down towards it, I'm not going to be out, I'm not going to be stressing out there, then maybe you can get away without one of those. But it really depends on your financial situation.
Of course.
So my third section here is store visits. So we've done our research, we've done as much of it online, and now it comes to coming into the store. And I think this is probably where we're going to spend a lot of time with the post, because really my big thing for customers is what's your time worth to you. And if you've done your research online, you should know what your trade's worth. Mm-hmm. You should know the car you're buying. You should probably know an idea of what's that worth, or you're going to ask the dealership to prove it to you through that report that I told them that all customers should ask for.
Absolutely.
Tell them to justify their numbers. Okay, well, why is this a good deal? Show me the other cars out there and what they're priced for.
Right.
And if you can do that, you're going to be getting a good deal. But also realize you have to be realistic.
Right.
The pricing online is already good. It's actually the hardest when we get like an old school buyer in here with like a younger person who's done all their research. They know it's a good deal, and then dad wants to come along to show them how it's done.
Yeah.
How they used to do it before. And these are all stuff that we've done to ourselves in the car business that we need to make it go away, but it's going to take time. But it doesn't exist anymore to negotiate thousands of dollars off the car.
Yeah.
The internet price is already dialed into where it is.
Right.
So I'd say my biggest advice there is do your research, know your pricing, and then ask the dealer to justify it, and then also know what a fair deal is.
Right.
I mean, your time is worth something to you. My free time is few and far between.
Paramount. Yeah.
I'm not going to go running all over the state for an additional $50 in savings. Because if you leave a dealership and go to another one, they're probably gonna beat the deal because it's an easy deal. It's a layup right there. But how much time are you gonna spend chasing $50, $100 when ultimately you got to that number right away? Take the deal and know what a good deal is. Also know what good service is.
Absolutely.
So if you're getting really good service from a sales guy, having that relationship will go a long way for you.
Definitely.
Versus not having any relationship at all, where you're kind of out in the cold. You don't have a contact. You don't know who to call about if you have a question about your maintenance schedule.
Sure.
Certain features in the car. I know our guys here are great. They're running all over the place. They'll shoot you. They'll do a quick video for you and tell you how to program your garage to the home link mirror.
Absolutely.
But you might miss out on that kind of service if you are
running around. Yeah, for sure.
Getting your trade value. This is an interesting one that I wanted to talk about here. A lot of the stuff that I've read, and I've read like articles on like how to buy a car, and they'll say negotiate your price on the car, and then throw your trade in afterwards.
After the fact. And
it's actually a fairly good strategy.
Really?
What that's going to allow you to do is, if you're negotiating with both of them on there, it's going to. It might make you lose focus of which one you're moving and take your focus off both those items that you need the right price for.
Okay.
If I were to buy a car, I really wouldn't worry too much about it, but I do see the idea of that strategy in there. But it circles all back up to the research. If you know the price you should be paying for the car and the trade value, you shouldn't really have to worry about that strategy
at all.
But I do understand the grounds of where it comes from.
Yeah.
But I think you can get beyond that by just doing your proper preparation before you come into the store, or asking the dealership to provide you with the documentation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're at a dealership that's doing it the right way, they should have no problem pulling out the report saying, yep, there's 10 of them out here. You know, here's where we are. You can see we're a perfectly fair value. We're aligned completely with the market. And when we reprice our cars every 3 days to make sure that we're a fair deal.
For sure.
Are we always going to be the best deal? I mean, you can't guarantee someone you're the best deal at all times. But if someone else has the car for an additional $100 off, I'm going to match that deal to put a deal together.
For sure.
But I can promise all the customers that we are a fair deal online. That they're getting a fair price.
Absolutely.
So when you're negotiating, one thing to remember is the dealer doesn't enjoy this part either.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is stressful on, like, sometimes we work in 5 or 6 deals at once, and it's like, this is probably the least fun part of my job. Mm-hmm. If we had a set price and you could just come in and buy it, that would make my job so much easier.
Way easier.
I'd be, I think it would make the whole process more exciting. And I think we're getting there as an industry where we'll have set pricing, but we're kind of at this weird in between of the older generation who grew up negotiating and they want to negotiate, and this younger generation who just doesn't want to negotiate. So what do you do?
Right.
I mean, it's like,
who do
okay, we can set a hard price on the car, but then even if we don't move a dollar, that old school person is going to want to see that, and they're going to feel like they're not winning, so then they're not going to want to do business. Even if it's a great deal, they still want to have the idea that the price went down.
Sure.
So it's,
every case is different.
Every case is different,
Definitely.
but as long as you're getting that justification, ask the dealer, prove it to you. Are you getting a good deal? Know your trade value, know what a fair deal is on your car, and then I had mentioned it a couple times there, know the difference between a rebate and a discount.
Sure.
So a rebate's coming from the manufacturer, and then also know what the dealer's discounting for you.
Okay.
And make sure that you're qualifying for all those rebates, that they're not just jamming stuff in there, and then they're going to tell you at the last minute, you weren't in the military? Oh, you don't get that deal. Oh, you're not financing through this bank? Oh, you don't get that deal.
Right.
Make sure you have all that lined up.
For sure.
This is why I really want to hit it. Don't negotiate unless you're ready to commit.
I think that's probably the most valid bullet point I've read yet. Looking through all the the notes that, it's just, it goes back to how much is your time worth. Why are you going to spend time negotiating with someone that you have no intention of doing business with? But if you're ready to commit to something and you found the car that you really, really would enjoy driving for the next 10 years, do some negotiating.
And I'm not saying don't ask for the price.
Right,
There's a difference there, right?
Sure.
Hey, John, can you give me the numbers on this car? Is different than, okay, give me the numbers, and now we're going to go back and forth for an hour.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I wasn't ready to buy it. Okay, well, why did we just do all this?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with negotiating when it comes to it, and there's nothing wrong with asking the price, but you're going to have a lot more power if you're negotiating from a stance of power, which means, hey, here's the number that I'm willing to do, and guess what? I'm ready to take this car home today.
Right.
That's going to carry a lot more weight than we're just negotiating just to negotiate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's going to frustrate your sales guy, because I think you were in sales,
you
understood how it was.
Man. Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think the final thing, be reasonable. So if you're going to come in here and ask for thousands of dollars off and then realize why no one wants to work with you, well, we already told you. The pricing's online. We're willing to work with you within reality, but to come get beat up for 2 or 3 hours and someone who's just not reasonable at all. Okay, this guy obviously didn't do his research. It's obviously a fair deal. We're justifying it's a fair deal.
Right.
And just to want extra thousands of dollars off just because you want it, even though it's not realistic, it can really be exhausting to work those kind of deals.
Definitely. Especially on your end. It's
for
also
sure.
exhausting from, like a customer standpoint, but think about the salesperson too, It's just all around an exhausting experience if there's no commitment, and if you haven't prepared, if there's been no preparation to establish what you're actually looking for, it's going to be really, really hard to put a realistic deal together.
Totally. So I keep saying it, but documentation should replace negotiation.
Absolutely.
So you should be asking for, okay, tell them, prove it to me. Prove that I'm getting a good deal.
Without a doubt.
And if they can prove that you're getting a good deal, all the power to that store for doing things that way. I think a lot of times what you're going to find, unfortunately, is you're going to find dealers who do want to do it that way because it's more enjoyable, it's more fun, it's quicker, it's less of a headache.
Right.
But you're just going to have people that are stuck in that old school way of doing things. So it's going to depend on the store that you go to as well.
Certainly.
So, and you'll probably get the feel of it when you walk into the store. Usually it's pretty quick. You can pick up on the
Oh, absolutely.
the feel of that store.
Without a doubt.
So I think we hit a lot about some of the tricks on negotiating. Delivery is another thing that we need to prepare for, though.
Okay.
Because we have to remember this is a big purchase. You're not buying the pair of socks on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's probably the second biggest purchase you'll ever make aside from that house, which would be number one. It's going to take a little bit of time. As dealers, we need to do a better job of speeding this time up. But if someone's got great credit, it shouldn't be too big. It shouldn't take any more than 30, 45 minutes to get all the documents right, to get them through the finance office to sign all the paperwork, and then on to the fun part of going over the car. I think back when I was in sales, one of the frustrations I had is, okay, well, we take all this time negotiating the deal and doing everything, and then it was always a big rush. And I didn't mind moving for my customer to get them out of there, but also the manufacturer wanted me to go through every feature on the car.
Of course.
To set up the Bluetooth, to show them how to use it, and I felt like, okay, I'm getting graded on doing these things, but the customer didn't want those things done.
In the first place.
But then when they got the survey, they downgraded me for not doing it. So it's kind of on the salesperson to make sure that he explains, okay, here, this is what the manufacturer is requiring me to do. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But also remember that you were in a rush to get out of here. And if you wanted to come back, I left that option available for you to come back at a better time. But don't downgrade the sales guy because...
Through the survey.
And now, if he totally blew it off and didn't give you the option to do it, that's a whole other thing.
Way different.
But if he's trying to slow it down to do his job,
Sure.
it's fine. And I understand the customer's point of view because if I was a customer buying a car, I wouldn't care to be shown all this stuff because I could probably figure it out.
Sure, yeah.
But
of course.
I also would downgrade him for not doing his job because I would be in a rush and I would rush him all the way through the whole process.
I'm right there with you.
But yeah, I guess if the customer sets their expectation for the delivery, like, hey, I don't need to go over every feature. I like to learn on my own. Just get me in and out. And maybe, especially if it's a scheduled delivery, tell the sales guy that, hey, can you have everything ready for me? Like the car ready to go, and I'm going to schedule 3:30. I'm going to be there at 3:30. You can really set it up for a quick delivery.
Absolutely.
But also, you might be set it up for 3:30 and you show up at 4:15. Okay, well, maybe someone else went in ahead of you, and now you might need to wait a couple minutes. So you're scheduling. If you're going to schedule something, make sure you're scheduling it to your
advantage. Yeah, absolutely. Be punctual about it. Definitely.
Cool. Any other things?
I mean, I think I've got some great insight as far as working on this blog post, and I think it'll turn out to be a really good one for sure. And thanks for sitting down with me for the time. And if you guys have any questions, man, we're here. Any questions that we can answer, we would be happy to do so.
Please share so we can make sure we get them included in here.
Without a doubt.
And maybe we'll do a final video after we get this whole thing, like a nice, quick, clean presentation versus this maybe boring.
The live video,
drawing
the
out
live
one.
feed, yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, man.
Well, thanks, JR. I really appreciate the time, man.
Sounds good.